Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. In our top stories in this edition of the news, the coffee sector abandoned in the Mungo division, littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon. The sector is also badly affected by the problem of bad roads in that part of the country and of course across the Republic of Cameroon. We'll take a look at this sector, which has practically died in the Mungo division in this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinoxe television. And out of the country, in Malawi, at least 3 former government officials arrested and detained over fraud and other charges. They have, however, denied wrongdoing, qualifying the arrest as witch hunting. We begin this newscast in the Mungo division, littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon. There we are looking at a sector of the economy of the country that has practically died, the coffee sector. This sector has been abandoned and of course also badly affected by the problem of bad roads. We take you to the Mungo division in this report compiled by Fomi Armstrong Sander.
Before now was the pride of the people and a strategic economic sector throughout the Kupe-Manenguba division of the southwest region of Cameroon.
Coffee, I would say, is a crop that sent me to school, that sent many others to school. It's a very important economic crop in Bangin subdivision here,
which unfortunately is now rocked by a series of challenges.
And our biggest cooperative here, BAF Group, hasn't got a coffee hauling machine, so we intend to buy one.
Added to this is a problem whose effect goes beyond the coffee sector.
The market roads, in fact, they are terribly bad, terribly bad. If we have a project that too, as we have already budgeted, everything will move well with us here.
The sector in Bangim, like the rest of the English-speaking northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, has also been handicapped by the 5-year-long armed conflict. This and the absence of a coffee hauling machine has made life unbearable for the few coffee farmers braving the earth in Bangim and the rest of the municipality.
Yeah, and our biggest cooperative here, BAF Group, hasn't got a coffee hauling machine, so we intend to buy one for them in the year 2022. And I think if that is done, majority of the farmers who sell the coffee to Melon for hauling will be happier.
These problems and promised solutions were echoed during the Bangim Council budgetary session for 2022, during which over 850 million francs CFA was adopted.
That was for me reporting there on the coffee sector in Bangim and the Kupe-Manenguba division at large in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. It is practically the same situation in neighboring Mungo division in the littoral region of the country. Now on to something else now. About 30 militants of the ruling Cameroon, or rather the opposition political party, the Cameroon Renaissance Movement of Professor Maurice Kamto, sentenced to jail terms ranging between 6 months to 5 years over insurrection, rebellion and other charges. And of course the verdict was handed down today by the Douala court of the Douala military court. And of course these militants have been in detention for quite some time now, and the militants of that political party, including the authorities and of course the national president Professor Maurice Kamto, clamoring for their release and decrying what they qualified as arbitrary arrests and illegal detention of militants on drum-up charges, according to the officials of that political party. And recently the national president Professor Maurice Kamto was here in the economic capital Douala and speaking to some militant supporters and sympathizers of the CRM political party. He said his hope was that they were going to be set free so that they can celebrate end of year festivities with their families. This, however, did not come to pass. They have rather been sentenced to jail terms ranging between 6 months to 5 years over charges of insurrection and rebellion. We shall come back to this in greater details. Time for us to Go to the west region of the Republic of Cameroon to talk about a recurrent problem. Chieftaincy conflicts has been recurrent in the west region in different parts of the region, as Innocent as he reports.
Armory vehicle and police elements in the heart of a forest. Their destination is here. This makeshift structure, urgently constructed, aims at serving as the Njanga Palace in the Kam Division of the West Region. This is what brings the divisional officer of Yabasi here. His presence is seen by the inhabitants and the third-class chief of Sole as a provocation. This chief and his subjects followed the divisional officer of Yabasi in this forest after being alerted in an informal manner of the local administrator's visit. His Majesty Valentin Bende, who has been serving as third-class chief for over 40 years, condemned such a surprise visit in his zone of command. I received a note saying the Joe will embark on a Meet the People store in Sole on the 4th of December 2021 at 1 p.m. at this palace. To my greatest surprise, before midday, the Jew passed right at my courtyard with his convoy going to an illegal village called Njanga. The population of Sole and their chief suspect a move by the divisional officer to install a new chief in Njanga. On that day, a host of persons assembled waiting for the Jew in Sole till 5 p.m. That to the best of her knowledge, she knows when any divisional officer comes, he is welcomed by the population at Sole. She is baffled how this time he is received in an unknown village called Njanga, 2 kilometers from Sole. A project to construct 2 energy plants, forest and land resources in Njanga are known to be at the origin of this conflict. Video, despite all these, prefers to be neutral by not uttering a word.
Police in Malawi have arrested former Finance Minister Joseph Mwanamveka and former Cabinet or Central Bank head Dalit So Kabambi on charges of abuse of office and fraudulent accounting. The police spokesperson said that the two, while serving in their respective positions, had allegedly procured and masterminded the falsification of financial records. According to the police, their intention was to help Malawi secure a loan from the International Monetary Fund. The two deny wrongdoing and they qualify the arrest as political witch hunt. In recent days, both men have expressed an interest in running for the presidency in the main opposition Democratic Progressive Party and intend to challenge President Lazarus Chakwera, and of course whose term of office ends in 2025. The presidency or the presidential term of President Lazarus Chakwera ends in 2025, and police have also arrested another cabinet minister, Ben Firi, for alleged fraud in an unreleased case. Ben Fira, who was local government minister under former President Peter Mutharika, also denies wrongdoing. Now in sports, we bring to you updates on handball news in Cameroon with Smanji Kangebre.
It has been a timid representation by the handball lionesses who are presently participating at the Women's World Championship in Spain. In their last group game against Poland, the lionesses were expected to secure a victory that will take them through to the next round of the competition. Unfortunately, Poland, who were also in search of their first win, put up a solid game, putting their strength on display after 2 painful losses. The Polish women's handball team defeated Cameroon 33-19. Notwithstanding the defeat, Cameroon's playmaker Karishma Khartoum Eko, being the top scorer of the match with 9 goals, was chosen as the player of the game. She becomes the second Cameroonian player at the tournament to be given this honor. Before Eko Karishma, it was the goalkeeper Noel Ben Bidian who took the honors during their loss against Russia in their first outing at the competition. Cameroon has now lost all 3 matches at the group stage against Russia, Serbia and recently Poland. Cameroon will now continue in the President's Cup meant for losers of the group stage, while Russia, Serbia and Poland sail through from Group B and they will continue in the main competition.
Smanjik and Gabriel ending this edition of the first part of this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinoxe Television. Coming up next, Talking Point. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. We are receiving a civil society activist, Padia Sanga. You're welcome.
Yes, Babila, I want to thank you and congratulate you for the persistence and what you guys have been doing out here in Cameroon. You know, we are trapped up in a system that listens to nobody. But thanks to people like you and your promoter, the promoter of your media, we are able to come into this country and give our own views and tell people exactly where the stakes are. So I'm happy to be here.
You're welcome. Now we want to take a look at a project which you and other persons are piloting, which you have codenamed One Cameroon. What's it all about?
One Cameroon is the DNA of this country. One Cameroon has to do with the founding fathers of this nation. And One Cameroon has to do with the fact that there are some nationalists who went to the United Nations and pleaded for the fact that Cameroon should be reunited before independence. So that's the spirit of One Cameroon when we are talking the pro-independence fighters. And then when One Cameroon also demonstrated its force and its presence in the 1990s when that alliance was created between around a candidate who was an Anglophone unifying all Cameroonians, and we are still convinced that they defeated Mr. Biya and his Jacobinist system, and we think that that dynamic today is actual. We should reignite that dynamic and look for a candidate who would carry up that mandate, and then we go directly to a transition for the Third Republic. That's what One Cameroon is all about. It's not a political party, but it's a platform to educate Cameroonians, and that person who would emerge as that the proponent who would take us to a transition, because we also know that this regime is not going to survive, and they are not capable to solve the problems that we have, not to talk less of the Anglophone crisis. So we believe that we have to go to a transition, and that's why we met first of all in Munich with Kawala, we met with Maître Sim, we met with Barrister Maître Ndoki, not Ndoki, how do you call her? I forget her name, but they were there with us in Munich, and we are talking about a transition. And we have come to the conclusion that we have to get to a transition where the constitution of this country would be touched to resolve not only the Anglophone crisis, but to resolve all the other doleances that has been presented by Cameroonians. Yeah. So we are looking for that candidate, and when the time comes, I think thanks to the consultations that we are making on the field, we'll have that candidate that will take us to where we want to go to.
You want to reignite the One Cameroon spirit, which has practically died today, so to speak, even though it is recurrent in the speeches of government authorities and those close to government and other people who are fighting for the oneness, the unity of the country. When you look at where we are today, what do you intend to do apart from consultations in order to actually reignite that spirit?
Babila, when we are in politics, I'm a political activist, and when we are politics, you don't spill the beans in public. But the one Cameroonness of what Mr. Biya and his creatures, who some of them are negotiating with France, is a Jacobinist one Cameroon. We are talking about a one Cameroon that will federate us around our cultures, our traditions, and the norms that belong to us. You want to understand that I'm talking to you in English today, but when I listen to you talk to your colleagues, some of your colleagues, you're talking in French. There is no language that reunites us. So that's not what we are talking about. We want to federate Cameroon within a Cameroonianness concept, not within a concept that is decreed by France or that is decreed by Mr. Biya and his friends, who of date some of them are in their position. That's the type of one Cameroon we are talking. And you know the field work that we have done. I've met with people like Mama Henriette Ekwe. I've met several individuals. We have to agree if I have to call their names here, but she's also a member, and we agree on that fact that dynamic of 1992 that gave us a candidate, an Anglophone candidate, because some of us who are very angry with the situation, we think that an Anglophone president there should be an Anglophone president in this country in order to give the feeling that we belong together. But on the other hand, we also know that if we go to a transition, then we have an elaborate transition program which was part of the Union for, which was ignited by the Union for Change. We can ameliorate that program and put in some content within the ambit of the current situation, and that's what politics is all about. Politics is not static, but politics is dynamic. Politics is meant to solve the problems which are recurrent.
In a recent statement, the national president of the Popular Action Party, PAP, Njang Denis, voiced out this idea of an Anglophone taking over the presidency or the helm of the state, and he was quite criticized by a lot of people who said, some of them who said, people are dying, properties are being destroyed, people are being displaced here and there, and you're fighting for presidency. You're fighting for an Anglophone presidency. How can that solve the problem at this point?
Those people who are saying that Njang Denis is wrong, they are shooting themselves in the leg. And the problem that we have in this country is that the Constitution of 1961 was violated. The federal constitution that was proposed, that there is going to be power was going to be alternating. So Njang Denis is very right. He's a young, brilliant young politician who's coming up, whom we think he can join us, and we would work together. But we also think that those people who say that we are fighting for the presidency, some of them are the people who say that the war was declared by Mr. Biya. They are the people who say that the war was declared with Mr. Biya. So if we have an Anglophone president who can end the war that was declared Mr. Biya, what's wrong in that? We did not come in this union to accompany Francophones, the first president Francophone, second president Francophone, and then they are proposing somebody who's going to negotiate with France and saying all sorts of crazy stuff. I don't want to call names here, Babila, but our project of one Cameroon is a very solid and concealed project, and we are talking with political activists, we are talking with political parties, we are talking with civil society leaders, and that's why we are crisscrossing the country. I'm happy that I'm one of those people who have had that opportunity to go to Boya, to go to Bamenda, to go to other places. I'll put the pictures when the time comes to set them so that they should know, because I don't want to endanger any people's life. But we have made a lot of consultation, and when I leave your studios today, before I fly me tomorrow morning, I'll still be meeting people and we'll be talking. We have a lot of meetings, and when I'm out of this place, we will discuss when the time is right to know who is actually ready, who actually loves this country, who actually loves OK. What we call OK is one Cameroon with a K. We are not talking about the Jacobinist Cameroon that Mr. Biya and his friends have been doing, going to negotiate with France. This man is of the opposition, and then they want to present him as a credible alternative, whereas Mr. Biya is presenting another person. So they are fighting themselves in France. We cannot negotiate with France anymore. France has to come and negotiate with us, Babila. You are a young, brilliant journalist. You merit more. And I also think that your media house has done a lot, has given everything so that we we can sit here and say things the way they are, but I've never been to the CRTV. It's a state-owned media. Paid by who? By us, by you, by me. I know that you are registered at the CNPS because you have...
No, you're talking about a transition to what Dr. Nick qualifies as a new Cameroon. How will this happen, and how is it going to look like? Is it the same idea that Kabanwala Edit and the CPP, the Cameroon People's Party, and the Stand Up for Cameroon Civil Society platform, is it the same transition that have been advocating that the people should rise up and take up power?
You know that I have very close relationship to most people of the opposition party, and especially Kabanwala. And you know that Kabanwala was accused that we met in Munich to buy arms, which was a lie fabricated by this government, and that lie has been debunked. So what Kabanwala is saying goes in line with what we have been talking about, and that's why we met in Munich. And today there are people who came to fight us in Munich who are talking about a transition. They accused Metro Sim that we met in Munich. I was there. Dr. Itai Wane, Ludovic Lado, and Tenesop, and all those who were invited who could not come. But they supported the initiative. But those people who are claiming to be knowing it all, they are the people who came there to dissolve that meeting because they did not want to hear about anything about a transition because they said they had won elections or not. That's not what we are talking about. But I am saying that that program that we had in Munich and that we had in 90, you know, Mama Harriet Ekwe, you know, people like Professor Alaka, you know, other people of the opposition, Ile Zipang, you know that I was in Yaoundé when they were talking about this electoral code. But I also understand that the opposition is infiltrated. So we should be talking about real things, and Kabanwala is a major actor. Joshua also is a major actor. Other opposition people are major actor. And when you are talking about young people, dynamic people like Jang Dennis, I like them. I like the way these young people have taken over the mandate, and they should be part of that platform. It's a communication platform. It's not to educate our people, because our people have been misinformed and miseducated as what the stakes are. And you cannot go and queue up in France and you think that you come and solve the Anglophone problem. We have to go to a transition and ignite what we call Article 67, which protected the federation. Today you hear people talking about all sorts of federation, but you know who holds the DNA of the federation in Cameroon, and I don't want to be partisan here because the platform One Cameroon is not a partisan platform, but it's a platform that is inclusive. And you also know that there are federalists who have been talking now to some of our brothers who are separatists like Bala, like Fomenki. You know the meeting I had with Fomenki in Gaundere. You know the meeting that I had with the Fon of So. And we maintain our positions, and we have taken guns from people's hands without firing a single bullet at them. So you want to understand what it takes to get to that level of de-radicalizing people. So the stakes are widening and people are coming to understand. I don't want to talk about the fight in the diaspora. That's not my business. People who are in the diaspora can kill ourselves in the diaspora, but the stakes are here back home, and you people are our leaders. A journalist like you should have been, I don't know, you should have been having whatsoever director the press at some at state media house, but I know exactly what happened. So I am very, very humble to sit with you, and you giving me that opportunity to spill out the beans and tell you what is exactly One Cameroon. So I'm very, very humble. You are the younger generation. The fight that we are doing now is not for myself, because at the time when Mr. Biya and Ahijo they took power, they were younger than myself. I'm older than when Biya and Mr. Ahijo took power. So what you are saying, One Cameroon is a communication platform to educate our people, and we will find a candidate that will lead us to a political transition for 3 years, and then we organize general election, because Mr. Biya and his regime, they are not capable of solving the Anglophone crisis, talk less of other problems that we have within Cameroon.
Badia Sanga, civil society activist, thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure, and Babila, I want to congratulate you people, and I'm happy that each time I'm here, you have given me the opportunity, you have listened to me. I want to also congratulate your colleagues who have been very courageous, and amidst all the odds, you have braved it, and we know what happens when you people take the positions. But when we take those positions, we are there to support you, and whenever you find yourself in difficulties, you can count on us also.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today. Coming up next, live from Cameroon's political capital, Yaoundé, La Presse dispute, and after that, Equinoxe. Stay with us.